That's all right.
There you go. All right.
For the recording, just a quick synopsis. I have been researching and reading lots and lots of accessibility statements. I found some really good examples of them, and I have found a template for creating an accessibility statement. So by next meeting, I should have a draft for everyone to provide commentary on. And that I think actually keeps us at 5 minutes. Uh, Next topic is guidelines. When Who is taking this one?
I'll walk through it. How about that? Hold on two
Okay.
seconds. I will just share the agenda here. And I think I heard Casey join. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
Hi, Casey. Hi. Add you. Oh, no, find you in here. I'll find you afterwards. Great. Okay. Kelly, on the accessibility statement, I guess as you're drafting it too, if you need something before the next meeting in March,
Hmm.
yeah, so let
I
everybody know.
will
Yeah.
let everyone know. And if I'm done before March, I will send it through the chat to everyone.
That's great. Okay, so guidelines. This has been a topic that we've had the last few meetings. We looked at the MDN ones, and we were talking about mobile ones. Ashley did a review on those to see what's there, what we're missing. So in terms of, it would be great to have our own in tandem with, I think, we can always lean back and say, here are MDMs, here's all the platform ones. And then these are things, more for our community and what it means to both design and develop and contribute to our products, and what our standards are for even our internal team as well, because that's the same on both sides. So I just have a couple of things that I've outlined here, and we can talk about them now. We can take the way and think about them a little bit more and start to develop a document that I hope we can put. Right now, we're still using the accessibility section on the Bolt design system documentation site. So that'll be a good place to keep housing this material for now. Um, but okay, so first question, these are just good open questions, but what are our cross-platform non-negotiables? And I wrote down a couple of the main ones. So color contrast, text resizing and reflow, keyboard and focus, screen reader semantics, touch target size, error messaging, motion and animation, and language and labels. Is there anything in addition to that list that comes up for anyone? I can't see.
Would dark mode be under color contrast?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, on both sides. Dark mode is not, I should point out, yeah, we do have light mode and dark mode. When it comes to color contrast, usually light mode is a little bit better, depending on what it is. Like if it's more cognitive or you need, not as, you need less contrast, that's when dark mode comes into play. And it's usually reduced in terms of WCAG standard. Usually we hit about double A on dark mode, whereas in light mode, we can usually hit triple A.
And so for color contrast, we're also talking about the high contrast like
Yep.
options. Yeah.
Yeah, everything within there.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that kind of captures making sure that um, we're always double A. We try to get to triple A. And then we also have the high contrast pass in there as well. So yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
also just
I
confirming. Oh,
Oh,
sorry. Go ahead, Wayne.
yeah, I have
yeah.
something sort of non-technical, but
Yeah.
common terminology across our discussions and documentation,
Yeah.
because that
Yeah.
translates to how well we can do support.
Yeah, totally. Agreed. Yeah, in all the places. So it's not too what am I say? User facing, technical facing. We're just all on the same page. Yeah. Anything else?
And then just to sort of like also confirm that text resizing reflow also covers just like actual like text size and like font
Yeah.
related.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I think too, I want to say in a way that comes to pinch and zoom too. I wonder if I should call out pinch and zoom separately, actually.
That's
Hmm.
probably going to be specific because
Yeah.
you can't have,
Yeah, to
I don't know how you
mobile.
pinch and
Yeah,
zoom
that's true.
on
That's a good point. Yeah, just to
computer.
mobile. What about uh I'm just thinking like some of the we've never really I'm like, do we throw Surface Pros and iPads over to just mobile?
Yeah, those are mobile.
Or do they start to get into a weird space? Okay.
So
We'll just
technologically,
consider
they're
those in.
mobile.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, as we get more touch interactive screens and different platforms, it's like, oh, does that break the paradigm?
We kind
Awesome.
of have to do it based on, I think, the technology more than just like the
Yeah,
size because we have to implement
yeah,
it based
yeah.
on the available technology. So like a Microsoft
Uh,
tablet running Windows is going to have to act like a computer, whereas a iPad
yeah,
running iOS is essentially just a
yeah.
really big iPod, not iPod. Wow, I just did iPhone.
I and I'll just say available to technology, and I'll say an example of pinch and zoom just to uh, recenter us if we have to come back to this. Go ahead, Wayne.
No, I don't have anything.
Oh, okay. Anything else? Maybe I'll put these there. All right. I'll go into the next one. It's good. And we can, again, like this is just a start, right? So we can always come back and revisit these things. Um, So then this almost is a nice transition from what we were just talking about with Ashley, mapping our non-negotiables to our platforms. So definition of good. So like on web, and this could go deeper, but yeah, so we've got WCAG 2.2 double A. There's three out there now. I might need to update this, but area only when needed, semantic HTML first. I know we don't have Mel here. Anything missing there?
General just sort of question on,
Yeah,
so it's blanket WCAG 2, but 2.2
yeah,
double A. Do you
yeah,
call it where specifically like we go beyond 2.2 double A for
yeah.
specific criteria, best practices, etc.?
I want to just say or beyond. Like always to
Right.
get, as far as we can go, but like that, we don't want to go below that level
Yeah.
in a
Okay.
way.
Just
Yeah.
wanted to just in terms of how this was represented here. So
Yeah. Like even it's almost like what we were talking about for color contrast with double A. It's like we'll always, that's you have to hit double A, but we always try to reach for triple A where we can. So it's like always trying to go to, um, as good when possible. But yeah, that makes sense. Maybe I should go through all of these and then I can open it up. That might be helpful. So for iOS, I had dynamic type, voiceover, switch control, reduce motion, increase contrast. And Android, talkback, font scaling, high contrast, text contrast, touch targets, and focus order. Windows narrator, keyboard only, high contrast themes, UI automation patterns, and then Mac OS, voiceover, keyboard navigation, reduce motion, and increase contrast. Anything to change or add?
I would say macOS, something that we still have to work a little bit more is the magnification tools kind of thing. So I know that there were some during our Fable research because things
Hmm.
were so stretched out, it was difficult for them to be able to keep track of what was
Yeah,
with what.
yeah. Hmm.
I would
So,
also
dude,
add that touch targets and focus order are across all mobile. Um,
yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, they should be.
yeah.
It's almost like we have to have like a higher category and then split it. I don't even think that, I mean, there's some platform differences like talkback or voiceover.
Yeah,
But
I think they all have their own way of covering it, but like
mhm.
it's just little different names. The
Yeah,
in uh like in reality, we'll be implementing essentially the same things across both. It'll just, have a slightly
Totally.
different name. Though I guess I think
Although,
the motion one is not a one I'm familiar with. I
okay.
don't think there's an Android equivalent.
Okay. Yeah, maybe it's good to keep them platform because when I think about communities attached to certain things, someone might only be developing for Android and, so they're kind of separate. Like
Fair.
somebody might work on both, but maybe it's good to keep the platform separate as opposed to just doing a blanket mobile
Hmm.
kind of thing.
You almost need like mobile in general and then like the
And
specific,
then the specifics. Yeah,
because
that would be good.
like
Yeah.
text contrast is a given on both, same with touch targets and focus order.
Yeah.
Whereas then yeah, there's the specifics like dynamic type and voiceover and talkback.
Yeah. So let's go.
Do we also want to add alternative OSs
Oops.
like Linux?
Yeah, that's something I missed on here for sure. It's funny because I pointed it out in when we go down into design system stuff. Good one. Oh, Oops, I really can't type today, apparently.
It's okay.
Linux?
UX.
UX, thank you. There we go. Cool. So I feel like you have so much stuff to say about screen reader. But I guess it's covered.
There
Anything
is a
back?
lot to go through, but like at the same
Yeah.
time, it's just ensuring that like we have, correct information being given, because that was also something that like we either don't give enough information and we say you're in group of 3, of 7, of something, and like table 3, which is super
Yeah.
helpful to someone who cannot
Yeah.
see, or you have
Yeah.
too much information. So we just have to find a
Yeah.
balance.
Yeah. So that's almost more, these are like more the big buckets that we're,
Mhm.
in some ways, that's like in terms of definition of good, I would be like, well, that's good. We have something. But then when we go down the next layer, it's like, well, is it the right thing in that category? Is it useful? Yeah. Yeah, a little bit deeper. Um, yeah. Anything else? Or otherwise we can just move on and we can come back to this too. I feel like I'm going to tap Heather to see if there's anything different in Linux, which I don't expect, but
All right.
yeah. Uh, Kelly, I'll just keep going here.
Yeah,
Making your life easier.
well,
Yeah,
no,
this
I
is
thought
still in
these
the guideline.
sections were you, so I
Yeah,
wasn't sure.
yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, totally. These are still in the guidelines. So I'm just kind of like thinking of the rough things that I would like to start adding, getting them public facing, which will help for anybody adding into um, creating anything for our products. Okay, so this is more. So we talked about, cross-platform. We talked about, the non-negotiables for each platform. And then this now I'm going a layer deeper where we want to start developing our accessibility guidelines for the Bolt design system for design and developed components. So these would be the little building blocks that go into anything that we're implementing, and they're the repeated patterns. So, and we'll get to a place first. The design system committee needs to get the components into the documentation, and then we will add on accessibility guidelines. So this is more of what I'll go through here is more of that overarching level. So not down to component specific. But what I did here, and you can look at these later, but I just pulled out some design systems that have a nice accessibility guide. And then, and again, this is like to go beyond what we already have in MDN or, material 3, as long as we're using that, or human interface graphics as well. Yeah, and then we'll start to make our own for that would be housed with the Bolt design system to say if you're making a component pattern, et cetera, for the design system, these are the guidelines to follow. So So we'll get to that, but like noodle on that over the next month. But I want to get to a definition of done for each of the components so that when we're doing a QA, everything passes in there. And so, I suggested some things here. I assume that this is going to grow and it would be different per platform, but any component also, this also goes into just whatever solve it is, but that we pass keyboard navigation, we pass screen reader basics, we pass contrast, we pass text scaling, we pass error handling, and we have no critical accessibility linting issues. Is there anything else for a lightweight pass of definition of done that is like screaming for anybody?
I'm not sure where this fits in, but sometimes overlooked um, are problem determination parts of the UI where it makes it difficult for the person to either diagnose some problem that they're having or being able to report a bug in accessibility itself.
Hmm. That's almost,
And I don't know if that doesn't quite fit under
yeah.
error handling, but it's adjacent.
It is, yeah, yeah. So it's like if you need help with something or if you don't know. This is almost like the reason I called this out, and I actually that's a good thing too, is like, do we have guidelines that someone could run and check all these things and has all the support that they need? And if they need extra help, where do they go so to do that and flag it so that because if they're in flight with something, obviously we want to look at it while they're focused on it. Um, yeah, I know Sol's done some ticketing through Bugzilla, but I haven't really looked at what we have for flags in the other repositories. Yeah, that would be an amazing thing for the bottom of like the guidelines, right? It's like need help with this, need to go above and beyond, need to call out something specific, and then we have a mention on that. I can actually just push that one into the there. So this is like, okay, so all the things I just went over there would be like the rough start to like what a guideline would probably encompass. And I'm wondering if anybody on the committee wants to own this and to help drive it forward. Of course, getting collaboration from everyone, but to just make sure that we're moving this along and that we can come up with a document that then we can post in our various places for community and for internal. Big question.
It can be a group of people, I'm hearing you say.
Yeah, I think it will take a group to make this happen, but I want someone to own it to keep ensuring that we don't drop the ball on it and that it just keeps moving along and we can get something shared out as a first iteration.
I can take it. It's a little bit overwhelming because like we're still like trying to figure out how we document things. So it will
Yeah.
take a lot of changes, but like
Yeah.
definitely looking forward to everyone else who has already worked on documentation.
Awesome. This will be a great project for you to
Mhm.
drive, Soul. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Kelly, back to you.
Excellent. So the next thing we have on our agenda is automated testing. And we wanted to talk about what it would take for us to add automated accessibility checks to our integrations.
I think we talked about we might. Ooh, I'm going to say. I know we talked about this a bit in our last meeting, and it's an ongoing conversation. I know Rob is not here today, and he's probably the most integral person for web that had a lot of thoughts on this. Um, but yeah, any other thoughts across the group? Ashley, anything for Android, iOS that comes to mind, or that
iOS
we're
at
already doing?
least,
Yes.
it does look like there are um some testing features that we can add to our test suites um, to confirm that certain issues exist. Not issues, sorry. Confirm that certain accessibility options exist. I would have to dig some to see how extensive they are.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, that's great. Okay.
I don't know. I don't think I've heard of Android having a similar option.
Hmm. Maybe I can ask, I'll ask John that. Maybe I ask a question in my next one-to-one.
When Alexander's back, we can ask him too, because I know he was very interested in this.
Yeah, that's true. So I'll follow up with oh, how do I spell his last name? The S,
Mm.
remember. Great. And I know, yeah, I know that there's, and oh, I put Rob on here as well because I know he had a ton. So we'll probably bring this back next meeting.
It
Wayne?
might be worth checking what Firefox is doing as well.
SCHMITZ.
Thank you. SCHMIT.
Z. Z.
I had to do Z in my mind. I just had to do the translation. I was like, Z, Z, yes. Good, good. Great. Okay, so we'll do a little follow up in there. So those are also in, like, this is our automated testing, and then we also have some of the tools available too for manual testing as well. But those are listed on the documentation site that we've talked about before. Yeah.
And
Good, good.
then next we have a discussion about what we think our success metrics should be.
I want to call out, yeah, let's go into the other bits, but also I know that Alexander had, he has a document for desktop and I didn't grab that. I will add that into the agenda afterwards. But we wanted to get that we should be able to use that for other platforms and modify it too. So there is a start on that, but there are, in terms of like checks and balances. But yeah, Kelly, go through the other ones.
So we started with design system adoption. Suggestion was percent of UI using vetted accessible components. Are there any other metrics that would be useful for this to help us measure how we're doing?
I was trying to get to sorry, that last one goes up here. I just came up with the top three, so maybe there's something completely different that comes to mind for people.
So
Something that we could,
go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say this is something that we could establish over the year. Obviously, we need to come up with a baseline for things, but what would be the most weighted for us to be able to tell a story around how we're doing with accessibility and the changes that we've been able to achieve?
Yeah, because one of the things that we're going to do, I think, in our accessibility statement is talk about how we're doing and what our direction is. So metrics would be really great to have.
So
And
the first one, which is the design system adoption, is the one like through telemetry. Basically, we're just gonna be gathering that kind of information. And if not, can we?
We can't. Yeah, we can't, as far as I know, with how we track. It would be, I'm going to guess that we know from projects that we've done in design, there is a way to, I don't know, I'm like curious, I have pen pot going on in my mind. Figment, there is a way to check UI components that we're using in the designs, although, and then we can also do a check to what's being pushed out. I'm pretty sure that we would be able to look at the storybooks and then be able to know. I don't know if it would be a fully and complete percentage of components being used, but I think we'll get an approximate number.
Mhm. Oh,
But
so
we also could just look at the design system and say we vetted all this is the total number of components in our design system that we know of so far.
okay, so
And
it was
these are
more
ones these
what
are
our
ones that have,
system.
yeah.
Uh, okay, cool. Um, then I would say I don't know if it would be an easy to track success metric, but like if we are able to track that users are standing to depend more on the accessibility tools they can rely on through us, then that means that they can trust us for that. They don't need to go to like the separate applications or something. Obviously, that really depends on a lot of things. So, for example, screen readers do exist outside of Thunderbird, but for example, high contrast um, themes or like that we offer and whatnot. I don't know if there's a, I don't know how worth it would be to try to track things through telemetry. Like I know that is important because it would help
Mm,
us understand better our users, but at the same
mhm.
time, I don't know how easy it would be for us to have useful information out of it at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know that we'll get anything with telemetry.
Yeah.
How about using what we are able to do with the testing to say
Mhm.
where we've tested to
Yeah, that would be almost like the top
per
flow pass
product?
rate. Yeah,
Mhm.
per platform. Yeah. And then also on the next one there, the escape defects. So it's like that also is like, do we catch things in QA before we push them out versus are we getting accessibility issues logged in our repositories? And then to what degree are they severe? I don't know if there's anything else like those ones. I was like, we could get a baseline on those ones this year, but I think it's interesting, Wayne, the questions that you posted for community, because I think some like if we got metrics in place, it might
Mm,
help with some of the questions you posted in my mind.
yeah, it does intersect with that.
Yeah.
Um, Again, maybe check with Firefox and in the help troubleshooting does um, list whether accessibility has been enabled on a platform or not. Um, I'm not sure what other stuff they have that they might already be capable of doing in telemetry on a platform basis.
Okay.
Can absolutely see what they had for the telemetry. All right. And last call, does anyone have anything else they would like to add to this list? You can always add later. Um, but if nobody has anything else right now, we're going to move on to the community participation because there's actually even more stuff for that than we have in here. Um, great. Wayne, do you want to talk to this a little bit since most of these questions were brought up from you?
Sure. I'll try to
Not
do
not
it,
a bad thing.
try to do it as intelligently as possible.
We have time. We
Sure.
purposely left time for this. So,
Okay. Um, so as I pointed out in Matrix, we we do have people who are interested in accessibility as demonstrated in some non-Mozilla discussion groups, but we get very little direct interaction with these people, um, either in our support or in bug reports. Yes, there are bug reports about accessibility, but they tend to be some rather expert people, um, and not average users. Um, by the same token, there's a possibility of engaging people, um, either to get more feedback or to provide assistance to this committee. Um, so those are the kinds of things that I tried to lay out. In addition to the wider support, questions of providing support and how we can be more effective at that. And we also mentioned earlier, or I did, about sometimes there's roadblocks to people with accessibility issues for being able to report issues. I know at one time there were some things in Bugzilla, for example, and these will not always be, product specific for what we code against in Thunderbird. But help troubleshooting, for example, is one which we need to make sure, and like being able to restart in troubleshoot mode, crash reporting, those types of secondary things. Does that lay things out? I think.
Yeah, how about I'll ask the questions also really specifically to the group too. Um, and I think Sol, from all the Fable testing, you might have an answer to this one though. But like, what types of accessibility challenges, and you can talk about those in like the specifics in desktop, component, like which ones do you think we're doing really well at, and which ones do you think we need work and that we're unable to address currently? Because I know there was a ton of stuff that came up in Fable, and we're hoping to do some Fable studies on Android soon as well, so we could have a similar answer. But so I know you're deep with the desktop answer on that.
So broken, there were some broken flows and broken components. I would say that components, it's when you go through the search function, like the global one, it's jarring as you are first on the unified toolbar, you're typing your search question, you press enter. That then moves you to a different search area, but the user is not aware of this because they're just listening to this. And when they try to tap down, they're actually tabbing through like a list of options that kind of show up underneath, but they're not the actual result list. So then you have to tap once more and you get into like the folder pane-ish section, which like it helps you supposedly filter a little bit better. But then you have to tap through all of that to then get into the messages. And even then, like it was really hard for them to be able to open a message. And this was something we found by chance actually, because it was not planned to do. It was not a Fable exercise. It was they moved the message. There's something happened. They tried to move a message to a folder. It said that it moved. It didn't move, so we tried to search it up, and that's how we ended up in that screen. So that one was one of the most broken areas I would say we have.
Yeah, and also Casey's here too. Casey did a
Yeah.
full accessibility audit on search, and we have some documentation around that too about things to improve.
Yeah. I don't know if Casey, you want to say a little bit more of that? Like my rendition was just what was happening at the moment.
Yeah, I will drop it in the chat. It's almost complete. I did it on Mac. I unfortunately don't have any Android devices to use, but I found quite a few areas where I got stuck personally, and I put everything at the front of the slides. They're all in blue, and Laurel gave me the great idea of putting priorities. So at the top right is how I would classify the flaw itself. But basically, for the navigational focus specifically, I noticed there were some areas where it didn't tell me where I actually was when I was using like keyboard navigation, it would just be gone. And I took some screenshots and created a flow so you can like reference them and you can see exactly where I got lost. But keyboard control specifically, I had a lot of issues with just tabbing so much just to get to a certain spot. I also compared it to Outlook and Gmail to see what they're doing because they're also pretty big on their accessibility um, for users. And for that specifically, I would usually only have to use tabbing navigation 2 or 3 times to get to my emails. For Thunderbird, I think it was like 12 or 13 before I got to my actual email. I'd have to go back and look. But yeah, there. I know we don't have enough time to go through everything, so I'm just going to drop it into the chat for you guys to look at. And I would love input on it if anyone's interested.
Yeah, and I could
Perfect.
elaborate slightly on why I put this item down, which is twofold. Yes, we can express our level of accessibility in numbers, but so often it's compartmentalized. The numbers change depending on where in the UI you are. So, as you say, search may be badly broken, um, whereas other places may be great. And this information, if we document it, also can help people, volunteers who are giving support to users. And third, actually, is it can help us better communicate to users. We know where our problems are, and people don't have to guess whether we know about it or not. So in whatever, blogs we might do or, future videos, we could include this information.
Yeah. I know, actually, I'll just call it mobile. I know that there's issues in Android with talkbacks too. Is there anything else that comes to mind in terms of specifics?
For current issues,
Yeah.
I haven't done a deep dive in it, but I know that we have some kind of wonky screens that navigate in ways that even someone who is sighted is going to be like, wait, why did I end up here? Um, so it probably needs a little bit of a dive and assessment on that. And then iOS obviously is too new for anything.
Um, to add to mobile, I know that during FOSDEM, I had a user reach out and being, like thankful that we do what we do, but at the same time, they were showing me their struggle that, like I had mentioned to Laurel separately, if like you pinch and zoom in your messages, because it's a native application, basically the text just gets bigger, the font size is bigger, easier to read. It all kind of like reshuffles so you can still read it vertically. However, if we're currently trying to pinch and zoom within an email on like Thunderbird for Android, it zooms into it, and then you're basically having to like swipe back and forth from left to right to try to continue the reading, and it really makes it difficult sometimes for users because the font is still pretty small regardless, and there is more, it's not accessible enough. Like it's a step forward, but it's not the end. So, yep.
Great. Yeah. Highlighting the need to do a Fable study deep in my mind there. Um, so, listen, Wayne, like your second question here with
Mhm.
like getting and giving help. So you're saying where should users seek help and what ways can they report issues? What can we better document? Yeah, does anyone have any thoughts on that? Like right now, it's like log an issue in a respective repository. And I know Sol, you did some in Bugzilla, and I think you have some thoughts about how things can get buried there. So um, yeah, how could we shine a better light on these things?
I know that there was, I think, a community hour session that we did with Rebecca, in which we talked about the results of the Fable study, but we also had a moment in which we were discussing how users could submit tickets that are concerning accessibility, and we can always try to talk to Monica or anyone in the team that does communications to maybe highlight it again, have it separate from the Fable study, because while the Fable study is important to us, what we want the community to know is how to reach out to us or how to help out those who have accessibility needs.
Yeah, talk with them
Yeah,
about having
yeah,
a regular accessibility focused session. Wayne, you're saying yes.
yeah. And we could even I don't know that we on the KB article that we do have if there's things about reporting issues just to make it more convenient um, for people to know how to proceed and just generally how to get involved because one of the emphasis I do with the people who do the office hours is hammer home the message um, that we want people to be engaged, to give us feedback, to reference and us provide links to references and KB articles, further resources, and not just stop at like the main message of whatever the blog post might be or the video.
Yeah, totally.
It's an opportunity to just draw people in.
Kelly, should we move on to the last question? Oh, oh, Kelly, you're on mute.
I'm sorry, I was coughing and I didn't want to have that on the recording.
Oh, no worries. I couldn't see you at all. Yeah, it's just we have one more question in the QA and then we could go on to scheduling up the next
Okay.
meeting. Hmm.
And this kind of feeds back to our last question, which is, are there tools that can independently measure our level of accessibility? And Laurel has added a Bolt link for
Yeah,
accessibility.
we talked about that in a prior meeting. So we have a list on that page of a ton of
Hmm.
tools that could be used manually. So we have that. Uh, and I guess, I mean, it's pretty, there's a lot on that list, so it's pretty inclusive, I want to say. But anything else that could help community out there beyond that?
I would say like it would be like that link that you sent for Bolt will be better once we kind of go over the other links that you shared about accessibility because they kind of break down how to use each tool and kind of when to use it. Whereas right
Mhm.
now we're just sharing them, which is still a step forward when we had nothing. But it just makes it easier for different users to digest the information.
Yeah. Measure, air quotes on the measure, right?
Hey, anywhere we start with measurements is a baseline, and
It's
we can
true.
grow from there.
Oh,
And
I'll
that's a
put in
wonderful place to do.
baselines there. It's huge, right? You can't really
Yes.
measure anything unless you have a baseline, and we don't really have a baseline yet. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Excellent. Does anybody have anything else they would like to add to that?
Sorry, I was muted. QA does have a system where they can document manual tests. Um, so be aware of that. At least for, I know they use it for desktop. I'm not sure what they're using, if they're using the same thing for mobile. Hopefully they are.
Do we publish those anywhere? Like, are they accessible to the community?
It's a closed system because it requires seats. Um, but Toby and Corey can get you acquainted with that.
I'm not sure if it looks at any accessibility stuff, but
No,
it
no.
might be worthwhile to ask about whether they can.
Yeah, and that almost takes us back to the well, it's the automated and the manual testing, right? And plus there should
Hmm.
be a design, like when we're doing our QA too, there's also a design review on things that includes accessibility. So building that whole the QA pipeline out more and having if we can get baselines from that, then we'll know our improvements too. So there's a whole coordinated bit here, which is cool.
Awesome.
Great. Yeah.
All right. So our next meeting is going to be on March 11th. It will be at 9 a.m. PST, 12 p.m. EST, and
Oh, that should be 5.
I was going to say that doesn't add up, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Caveat that there's time changes across the board, so I will recheck that again later because I think yesterday I was a little bit off.
Um, we need to know who would be interested in facilitating the next meeting. Basically, it's a really simple setup. We make sure that the agenda is done beforehand, and you basically hand off to the appropriate people to talk about their topics and keep the meeting moving semi on time if you can.
Yeah, I can do that.
All right.
Amazing. Yeah.
All right. And off the top of your head right now, are there any topics that we want to add to the agenda for next month? All right. As always, if you think of anything, please feel free to post it in our chat on Matrix, and we will make sure we add it to the agenda for next time. Also, if you have anything you want to add with regard to the things that we are building drafts on, like the accessibility statement or the guidelines draft, please feel free to post that in the chat as well so that we can make sure everybody's ideas are taken into account. Thanks, everyone.
Yes, I'll stop the recording. Stop my share. Up there. Oh, wait. Button. Oh my gosh, why does chat always cover up the recording? There we go. Thank you all.